HR, I'm in human resources, and I'm in the recruiting industry. So every time I look at a resume and I see Kane, it automatically goes on top of the list. So what does that really mean? I'm also looking to network with you guys, so you guys have to build a brand of yourself. Build a leader in you. Take that leader out and expose it to the world so that other people would want to network with you as well. Networking is not always about who is on top and who's in the bottom. Network is about what is there to gain, right? So it's about getting, it's about giving, and it's about sharing that with everybody. The competition was fierce. I was in competition with Harvard, Yale, Stanford people. And the one good thing I had going with me was I was shameless. I had no bashfulness at all. I knew how to talk to people, which I learned at Kane. And I was fearless. So the one thing that was going for me was I figured that I had nothing to lose. Everyone else that I was competing against had something to uphold. I had the Kane name to uphold. So I was like, you know what, let's go for it. But I want to give you guys some tips that you guys need to absolutely mandatory carry along with you when you go out in the real world. So first thing I want you guys to do is disrupt yourself. Now what do I mean by disrupt yourself? Find out, write down on a piece of paper the 5 or 10 worst habits of yours that stop you from reaching your potential. Tell yourself that I'm going to disrupt this, meaning I'm going to stop doing this starting tomorrow. My first job out of college was for $25,000. And I literally, after I signed the offer letter, my first stop was at Route 22 Toyota, thinking I'm going to buy a brand new car. Little did I know, after the payment plan was done, I didn't have money for rent, right? Because after payment and insurance and everything, so that's how naive I was when I first got out of college. But that $25,000 job led to where I am today. So don't discount, don't worry about money. Money will come. If you build yourself, money will follow you. Invest in yourself. Find out from each and every table which industry has the most similarity to the personality that you are today and that you want to be tomorrow. If you have one takeaway from every jargon that I just spoke right now, this is the one thing I want you to write down. Take your pen, paper. I want everyone to take a pen and paper. Go ahead. First sentence, I will disrupt my bad habits starting tomorrow. And the second thing, the only person that's going to stop me from getting to where I need to be is myself. That's why the only thing that I'm going to invest in is myself.
I was one of those students involved in so many activities on campus and off campus. I was part of a few clubs. I was part of and attending to so many clubs, intercultural clubs, and also workshops, lectures outside and inside campus. Sometimes those events or activities were not related with my major, and sometimes they were related with my major. But I was convinced that anything that could enrich me could also help me in my future career. So, for example, I was a member of the Accents, the Intercultural Club. We were a group of students from many countries, and with the help of a professor, Professor Charles, we created a magazine. That magazine, the purpose was to publish essays from students whose native language was not English. And at the end of my participation with the club, I became the chief editor of that magazine. So when I applied for my first internship, that professor wrote me a great letter of recommendation, and that magazine was a really big plus on my resume. When I was still a freshman, I started to work at the front desk of the Center for Academic Success, and eventually I co-instructed with a professor the transition to Kane class. At the beginning of my sophomore year, when I was like clueless about my major, I started to host my own radio show here at Kane at WKNJ FM. And we are all busy We are always, around so many responsibilities, but we have to make an effort to constantly keep in contact with those connections that we make. Because again, we are not going to wait until you need that person to reach out. My mom always used to say, el mundo da mucha vuelta, sabemos de hoy pero no de mañana. If I translate it, it will be, the world goes around, never take anything for granted. As a professional, there are many challenges that we have to encounter. When I'm working, my day, they just go like in a blink. Everything happens too fast on my industry. And, but it doesn't matter what happened. When our viewers turn on the TV to watch the news at 5 a.m., at 6 p.m., or at 11 p.m., we have to be ready. I have to be ready. My news report has to be ready. So if there is any advice that I can give to you guys, the one that are still here struggling and trying to find a job or about to, reach that goal, is to start early, start networking, start building those connections while you are here at Kane. And also, I think it's really important that if you have or need to make an internships or a few internships, start early. I did my first internship when I was a sophomore. Also, take advantage of the resources and opportunities that Kane has. And also, it's very important to set your priorities. Knock on doors. And at the same time, try to have a plan. And remember, it's good to try to find what works for you, but what works for me may not work for you. So it's really important that you have to find what is exactly that you think is going to be working for you. And just believe in yourself and never ever stop.
At the time, I graduated with my master's in public administration. I wanted to get into the federal government workforce. So I was very excited about that email. Another reason why I was excited about the email is because prior to that, actually 6 months before I received my graduate degree, I was putting myself out there. I was applying for government jobs. I don't know if anyone has been on usajob.gov. The application process is just confusing. So I'm out there, putting myself out there, putting my resume out, and for some reason, I was not getting the results that I needed. I got very discouraged, and I'm like, what's going on? All of my friends, they're getting ready to graduate, they're getting into their career, so I'm like, is it me? I don't know. So I continued to go on and apply. I went on to the government job fair at Rutgers University. As soon as I got there, my goal was to speak to every agency that was at the job fair. I just thought in my mind that I was going to make a connection with someone, and someone was going to notice the drive and my interest and said, okay, I would like to give her a chance. So that's exactly what I did. I went ahead, I spoke to every government agency. The last table that I went to, it was towards the end of the job fair, everyone was leaving. I met with a recruiter from the U.S. Department of Labor, and I let him know my interest, that I was very interested in going into government workforce. He gave me all the information, was very knowledgeable, let me know exactly what the process is, what I should do, how I should structure my resume. I was very thankful of that, and I kindly let him know that I was interested in if there's a position opening in his district to let me know. He said, okay, follow up. I said, say no more. So when I got home to my dorm, I laid out my bags, like always, going through the piles, looking at business cards, applying. And 2 months into the process, I was not getting the results that I wanted. So here I am back into that dog space again, like, what's going on? This is not good. I would follow up with the recruiter. He was very nice. He was actually giving me words of encouragement. And he said, follow up with me. And I'm not intimidated, because I asked, but I felt a little out of place, because I didn't want to make it seem as if I was stalking him, because in a way I wanted to, but then again I said, you know what, let me just step back and follow up, but not do it in an extreme type of way, in a day or every other week. So I kept in contact. He would follow up with me. He would send me job openings for jobs that were out of the state. And at the time, I didn't want to relocate. I wanted to stay in New Jersey because my family were here. So I would keep him in mind and keep following up. And finally, 6 months later, he contacted me and said, there's a position opening in my district and I would love for you to come in and apply for it. As I walked into the interview, I noticed that he was actually the director. He's like, I'm the director of this whole program. I cover the whole state of New Jersey. We investigate the whole state of New Jersey. We have offices in New York, offices all over the country. I said, oh my goodness, okay. So his words to me when I came in, he was like, I admire your consistency. He said that I have never met someone who kept in contact with me, even after he sort of like let me know that there were not any opening in New Jersey for 6 months, but then I continued to follow up. And he said that I admire that because the type of job you're going to be doing is very, very extreme and very intense. And we need someone who is persistent because without that you will not survive. And today it has been 7 years and I still have the same feeling. There's a saying that says, if you find a job that you love, find the thing that you love to do, you will never work a day in your life. And today, I'm living proof. I feel that way. And as I think about my experience at King University, the struggles that I went through, the setbacks, the you're not qualified, the no's, I just think back and notice that, you know what, although it took me longer than my friends and everyone else, it doesn't mean I failed. So whatever connections that you are making today, make sure that you are following up, and even though that person may not contact you right away, or you don't get the result that you're looking for, don't give up. If you have the dream, you have your education, your background is great, sky's are the limit. And I just hope that everyone can take that advice from me. I'm living proof. It takes time, especially with the economy the way it is. It's going to be struggles, but it's okay. Keep in contact, follow up, and follow your dreams.